Welcome back. New developments tonight in the trial of a Bradenton man convicted in October of a robbery and double murder. Jimmy McNear was found guilty of the 2015 second-degree murders of Contrell Brooks and Esther Denuse in their Southern Parkway home right in front of their 5 children. Since his conviction, one of the female jurors wrote a letter to the judge claiming other jurors on the panel were racist and that she does not believe McNear got a fair trial. Tomorrow morning, a judge will listen to arguments from the trial attorneys about whether or not to interview the juror and to determine if her claims are factual. That hearing starts at 9 a.m. at the Manatee County Courthouse. The parents of the man accused of killing 4 people in Tampa's Seminole Heights neighborhood is refusing to answer questions from investigators. Now they are set to go in front of a judge for their refusal on January 5th. The family's attorney told the judge that the parents are devastated and don't want to answer any questions from prosecutors who are seeking to make a decision about the life or death of their son.
That they can't function, that they can't function, that they can't think cogently and clearly, that they're confronted with a proposition that very few ever have had to, that they feel hostages in their own home, that they've considered leaving town, that they have a younger child, that they're afraid of the safety.
The state attorney's office has authority to subpoena the parents and question them. The Donaldsons may go to the state attorney at any time before the court date if they choose to answer those questions. And the wife of the gunman who fired inside of Pulse nightclub will have her trial in Orlando. A federal judge has denied a change of venue request. North Salmon's lawyers were asking for the trial to be moved because of what they called inherent prejudice caused by media coverage and statements by Orlando's police chief. Authorities have charged Salmon with obstruction of justice and aiding and abetting. She has pleaded not guilty, and her trial is set to begin in March. A jury is now deliberating on a Sarasota man accused of murdering 2 well-known members of the Newtown community. The jury had been deliberating all day, but so far no verdict has yet to be reached. It was back in June of 2015 that Ronald Howard was accused of shooting and killing 2 longtime neighbors of his on 33rd Street in Sarasota. Sarasota police officers at the time responded to the single-family residence where 65-year-old Johnny Campbell and 83-year-old Carlos Suarez Jr. had been shot. One victim died at the residence while the other died after being transported to Sarasota Memorial Hospital. According to police, the victims and the suspect had known each other for some time, and witnesses told officers Howard and the victims had a dispute earlier on in that day. But following that argument, Howard made statements to witnesses that he wanted to apologize to the victims. Some frightening moments for shoppers and people in downtown Sarasota this afternoon when a car veered off Main Street and crashed. Take a look at this video. The driver collided with one of the beams just outside of the Wells Fargo Advisors building. People crowding around the building to help the driver and survey the damage. But as one worker for the bank tells us, this incident could have been much worse.
From what I understand, a woman got confused with the pedals and hit the gas, went too fast. I'm actually surprised it's not as bad as it could have been, you know. Good thing it didn't hit the glass in the bank.
The driver of the crash was seen by paramedics, but there's no word on her condition. Well, let's head back over to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for a quick look at your first alert forecast. Bob.
Jacqueline, big things happening right now. We have the fires out west with the Santa Ana winds blowing up to hurricane force. And then in the southeast, it's going to be devastating with a snowstorm. You've got it, a snowstorm. Get a look at the snow accumulation expected over the next 48 hours over the eastern third of the nation as this storm gets itself organized. You can see it spreading through the Great Lakes and the Northeast. But this is more important right here. A lot of folks fly in through Atlanta. That's a big hub, and they could get up to 1.5 inches on the scale here, maybe even 3 inches in places. This isn't set in stone, but nonetheless, it looks like the accumulation is going to be significant enough to cause some problems for travelers, especially along I-75 if you're heading northbound out of Florida or coming down to Florida. Here's the storm. Right now, it's a stationary front for the most part. There's not moving much. It stretches all the way from the Carolinas into Texas right now. And in West Texas, they're getting the snow and freezing rain. As I mentioned, that colder air will spill to the south. For us, some rain nearby, but it's mainly offshore, pushing to the northeast. You'll notice there's not much progression toward our coast at this point. And this line is going to be rather intense as it makes its way to the northeast. I think that'll stay offshore here. Not much going on elsewhere to our south. A few spotty showers down into the Everglades. And the fog, it could be back tomorrow morning, so keep that in mind. We'll have the complete details on the potential for some severe weather tomorrow night. Details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. 2 Miami men have been arrested for installing skimming devices at 3 Sarasota gas stations. During a search, Michelle Verona Saavedra and passenger Yoandi Prados' vehicle yesterday, deputies recovered 2 skimming devices, cordless drills, and a set of keys that gives access to gas pumps. Detectives say they discovered that the duo installed gas skimmers at the Sunoco and Citgo gas station on Bee Ridge Road, as well as the 7-Eleven on South Tamiami Trail. Customers who have purchased gas at these locations are encouraged to check their bank statements for any suspicious transactions, no matter how small the amount may be. The State House race to replace Alex Miller continues to heat up. Democratic candidate Margaret Good and Libertarian Allison Foxall came face-to-face at the Tiger Bay luncheon this afternoon. Good won the Democratic primary just on Tuesday. Now, Good, Foxall, and Republican candidate James Buchanan are the candidates vying for that vacant seat of the House 72 district. Good and Foxall both took questions and pled their case on why they should be elected. Buchanan, however, did not attend the luncheon today. And Senator Al Franken has announced he is stepping down from Congress in the coming weeks following growing calls for him to resign from members of his own party. It all stems from accusations of sexual misconduct. As Serena Marshall reports, he is now the highest profile politician to step down amid the growing list of lawmakers facing accusations.
Senator Al Franken is leaving the Senate.
In the coming weeks, I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate.
And goes reluctantly.
I know in my heart that nothing I have done as a senator, nothing, has brought this honor on this institution.
His departure follows the abrupt retirement of Representative John Conyers and came after louder and louder cries from his own party to step down.
Enough is enough.
A total of 8 women accused the senator of inappropriate sexual conduct. Today he said some of those allegations were simply not true. Others he remembered differently and believed a Senate ethics investigation would agree. He also called his decision ironic.
I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
Franken was referencing the 2005 Access Hollywood tape, which caught Mr. Trump boasting about fame enabling him to grope women, and the allegations against Republican Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore. At least 8 women accused Moore of sexual misconduct or inappropriate behavior while they were teenagers and he was in his 30s.
We feel strongly that the people of this country also addressed that when they elected Donald Trump to be president, and I've addressed it several times from here and don't have anything new to add.
But as Franken becomes the second Democrat to leave Capitol Hill, the party making a point that zero tolerance means no one is exempt.
Senator Al Franken signaled that he'd like to see a woman appointed to take his seat, and the Democratic governor of Minnesota is the one who gets to make that choice. The spotlight seems to be on the Lieutenant Governor, Tina Smith. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
A constitutional amendment proposal to expand Medicaid under the Federal Affordable Care Act is shaking up the state capitol today. The legislation would place the idea in front of voters on the 2018 general election ballot, asking Floridians whether the state should extend Medicaid coverage to more than 800,000 additional low-income residents. A sponsor of the bill says people who work in low-wage jobs are stuck between earning too much to qualify for government assistance and earning too little to afford a monthly insurance premium.
They don't have enough money to pay for health care, but they are working, and in effect they're being penalized for working because often the non-working people are the ones who do qualify for Medicaid. So these people are working and out there in the community.
Supporters of the proposal say low-income Floridians often wait until medical conditions become very serious before seeking treatment at an emergency room, which is not only bad for their health, but it also costs taxpayers more in the long run. A growing number of newborns are coming into the world addicted to the drugs that their mothers used during pregnancy. It's a condition called neonatal abstinence syndrome, or NAS, and can only be diagnosed after a birth. The newborns even experience symptoms of withdrawal, including vomiting, high-pitched screaming, and shaking. In Florida, the total number of NAS births has significantly increased over the last 10 years, and Sarasota and Manatee counties were among the highest in NAS birth rates as recently recently as 2015.
We have seen over that period of time, and certainly over the last 10 years, more babies with NAS. And obviously that's because there are more mothers who are pregnant who are using drugs.
Earlier this year, local doctors started the Addiction Support and Pregnancy Program to help women meet doctors, nurses, caseworkers, and other people who can help their baby lead a healthy life. You can find out more about this problem and the proposed solution tonight on ABC 7 News at 7. And today marks 76 years since the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. In honor of the lives lost and our veterans, a special tribute performance will be taking place tonight at the State College of Florida. SCF's Manatee Sarasota branch big band and jazz combo will present Jazz from Pearl Harbor, a veterans tribute at 7:30 tonight. The show will take place at SCF's Neal Performing Arts Center on 26th Street West. Those in attendance will also have the chance to return to that infamous day in history as the band recreates a USO wartime radio broadcast from 1941 immediately following the attack. The broadcast will include music from big bands of the era that performed on warships in the Atlantic and the Pacific. Still to come on your Suncoast News, 4 simple things that you can do to protect your skin during the cooler winter months. We'll have that story when we come back.
SRQ Performance Parts provides parts and accessories from over 300 manufacturers, so you can get that new manifold, carburetor, gasket, bolt kit, or nitrous oxide system fast. We'll help you beat the competition. Call or visit SRQ Performance Parts online today for all your high-performance parts and advice.
I heard about the Dotole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee counties since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
Naomi, my California closet designer, has been my partner in crime. She was genuinely fun to work with. We have had a ball collaborating on the 8 units that we have done in our home. The closets in the house are great, but the den is what everyone comments on when they walk in the house. And it's so beautiful. They say, whoa, who did that? And I said, it's California Closets. My name is Melissa, and this is my California Closet story.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
While we aren't likely to see any snow this winter here in Florida, if you're heading up north, you may be concerned about how to protect your skin against the cold. With some tips on how to do just that, here's Kim Hutcherson.
Cold, dry winter air can be rough on anyone's skin, especially those who suffer from psoriasis, a skin disorder in which the body's own immune system becomes overactive and attacks normal tissues. Cold air has an extraordinarily low moisture content, which can steal moisture from the skin. So be sure and protect yourself this winter by covering up when you go outdoors. Layer up and use moisturizers before you go outside. Indoors, cut down on those long, hot showers. Experts say they strip natural oils from the skin. Also, use a thick, fragrance-free body cream after showering, and make sure you're using the right soap. Switch to a moisturizing soap and ditch the scented body wash to avoid itchy winter skin. And a reminder, just because it's winter and less daylight doesn't mean you shouldn't be using sunscreen. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. If you haven't had a chance to download our weather app program, go ahead and get that, because we're going to have some warnings tomorrow, I'm sure, tomorrow night as a result of a storm system heading on in, and that means you don't have to be near your TV. You can just have your phone right there and be alerted to any kind of severe weather threat. And there is a threat now, especially tomorrow evening and through Saturday morning. The threat tonight is fog again. We had the advisories last night. Fog can be a very serious situation when it comes to driving. There have been numerous accidents over the years on our interstate systems that have caused numerous deaths. So keep that in mind too if you plan on driving. Also, driving is going to be very difficult throughout the late day tomorrow and through Georgia. If you're traveling northbound on I-75, this is all going to change over to snow, and we could get an accumulation up to 2 inches around the Atlanta metro area. So I've been driving through this area at times when there's snow falling and snow on the ground, and a lot of folks over the southeast don't know how to drive in the snow, and it can be very dangerous. Now you can see a lot of this rainfall moving from the southwest to the northeast. A little unusual to get snow even before winter starts. So this is a bit of an anomaly, and it looks as though it could be rather thick snow into Louisiana, just north of New Orleans. For us, we're going to stay in the warm sector at least through tonight and tomorrow, and then eventually the cooler air to move in on Saturday. 11 o'clock tonight, still be, looks like 68, 70 degrees for that matter. Temperature, here's the trend. Get a look at it. Say goodbye to the 80s once we get through tomorrow. 60s will be the rule for the next several days after that, and then maybe in the low 70s on Tuesday. Another cold front comes down Wednesday and Thursday. A little too early to tell how strong that will be, but some late and long-range models indicating maybe a little bit colder than that particular model is showing. Sarasota Bradenton Airport right now, 77 degrees. Bradenton 75, 74 in Venice. Again, the dew point temperature is what we look at, and it's already into the upper 60s to low 70s. The high today was 80 despite the fog around. It's still warmed well above average. 65 the morning low, and 55 is our typical low temperature for this time of year. We could use a little bit of rain. It was a very dry November so far for the month. We haven't had any in December, and we could get over an inch across a lot of the area. Well, dew points already starting to fall in places like Pensacola and Tallahassee and Jacksonville. 54 there in Jacksonville. Our dew point temperatures remain warm. Our actual temperatures now into the 70s, 77 in Sarasota, 76 in Venice, 75 Gulf water temperature. This will drop about, I would say, almost 10 degrees over the next 5 days or so. 61 in Sebring. Well, the Futurecast is going to show what's going on as far as the rain snow goes. This will be all rain, but notice the blues here and purples. That's kind of a rain snow mix. As we move through time, you'll see that spreading off toward Atlanta, and then eventually the rain, and some of it heavy. Look at this, big storms right here. The timing of this would be 10:30 Friday night. Now, don't get set in stone that 10:30 we're going to have the severe weather, but there'll be a lot of big storms out there, and I'm talking some heavy rainfall too. The most concern right now is the potential for severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. Get a look at the rainfall forecast as far as the accumulation goes. This particular model, the European model, is showing that most everyone will get at least an inch of rainfall. I wouldn't be surprised to see some heavier amounts in some localized areas up to maybe 2.5 inches. That thunderstorm threat will be there too, especially tomorrow night and on Saturday morning. And there is a potential for tornadoes. We saw that back a couple of years ago in January. That chance was at 5%, and we had tornadoes. For boaters tomorrow, a moderate chop. I know there's a lot of action going on in the waters over the weekend with the boat parades, and it looks like that's going to be tough going with small craft advisories, more than likely flying right through Saturday evening. Well, there's the rain chance. The heaviest will be late Friday and into early Saturday, turning much cooler for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then another cold front moves through late Tuesday. Jacqueline?
Okay, thank you so much, Bob. Time now to check your First Alert traffic for the drive home. There are no major accidents delaying drivers right now. However, we are still seeing those slowdowns heading northbound on the interstate around Fruitville Road exit. The American Airlines scheduling glitch that happened last week is projected to cost the company millions of dollars. A recent J.P. Morgan report estimates that the airline will pay about $10 million for the mistake. Last week, the Allied Pilots Association revealed that thousands of holiday flights were without pilots due to scheduling issues that gave too many employees time off this holiday. To fix it, American and the union negotiated a pay increase for pilots who offered to fly the unassigned flights. They say no flights will be canceled. Well, stay with us. Entertainment news is coming up next.
Being the caregiver for my husband is truly a blessing, but sometimes it's easy to lose a part of myself. To be my best, for him and for me, it's important to have time to be able to recharge. When I called Tidewell Hospice, they gave me the chance to do just that. They helped me find the time to care for myself, all the while with the peace of mind of knowing my husband is in the very best hands. Tidewell Hospice, it's more than you think.
It's the holiday sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sport Utility for $269 per month or a 2017 MKZ for $279 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Sun Coast since 1978. We are located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Attention type 2 diabetics. The FDA warns of an increased risk of amputation associated with certain diabetes medications. If you took the diabetes medications Invokana or Invokamet and then suffered an amputation or one of these other serious injuries, call the Rely On Group right now. If you've suffered amputation or any of these other injuries after taking your diabetes medication, call the Rely On Group today. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-604-1698. That's 800-604-1698.
Let me introduce you to the ultimate Florida window. Do you feel safer with this or this? You'll be proud too.
Buy more, save more. Volume discounts on 4 or more windows.
Choral Artists of Sarasota presents Too Hot to Handle. Add an electric spark to your holiday season with the return of this joyful gospel reinvention of Handel's Messiah. Shout hallelujah and get ready for a roof-raising performance featuring an ensemble of 100 singers, plus exceptional musicians and outstanding soloists, including Amy Jo Connors and members of the West Coast Black Theater Troupe. Sunday, December 10th, 7:30 p.m. at the Van Wezel. Tickets and info are at coralartistsarasota.org.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Sports analyst and former NFL quarterback Warren Moon is being sued for sexual harassment by a woman who worked at his sports marketing firm. The lawsuit was filed this week by Wendy Haskell, who worked as Moon's executive assistant. Haskell's suit claims that Moon made repeated sexual advances toward her, along with unusual requests like requiring her to sleep in his bed when they traveled for business and demanding prior approval of her wardrobe. Haskell also says that Moon drugged her drink on a business trip this year, and that he assaulted her. According to the lawsuit, Moon has told Haskell that she would lose her job if she did not comply. Haskell says she was demoted by the firm in October after she complained about Moon's sexual advances. However, Moon has denied those allegations. And singer John Mayer is recovering tonight after being admitted to the hospital for an emergency operation. The Gravity singer assuring fans on Instagram this morning and thanking them for their support. The star posting a picture of himself posing in a hospital gown with the words, "Still got it." He's currently touring the United States with Dead & Company in New Orleans. And Bon Jovi is a step closer to being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bon Jovi won the fan vote, pulling ahead of the Moody Blues, Dire Straits, The Cars, and Judas Priest. The top 5 fan vote winners got an extra vote in the official balloting, which is made up of industry professionals. The 2018 inductees will be announced next Wednesday. Well, stay with us. We'll have more news and weather when we come back.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.